talked a lot in a lot of our classes about the power of aloe vera, how much I love it. And really, this is one of the most therapeutic plants. I mean, if you put these three things together, which we're doing, you have an amazing combination. You have a trio that you can literally give anyone you know, any family member, any friend, and you can rest assured that this is something that will upgrade their whole deal, right? No matter what condition they have going on, this is something that you can put in the probability field. So that's an interesting idea real quick as we're going through this. When you're talking nutrition, the idea that most people get hung up on is yes, no, which is like ego, right? It's like this or that. It's got to be yes or no. It's got to be one or the other. And that's why I sometimes when people try to nail me down on these like, well, what is it? What's the exact recommendation? It's like, well, I can't really tell you because it doesn't actually work that way. After all the years of nutritional Nazism and all the craziness in the food world of trying to like tell everyone what the right thing is, we've kind of figured out that it all exists in a probability field, right? There's a kind of a pendulum, and all we're trying to do is put things in their appropriate probability. So for example, the probability that aloe vera is good for you is pretty high. The probability that tap water is not good for you is pretty high. You guys get that idea? Yeah. So that's the new quantum physics model of nutrition, right? We're out of Newtonian physics. We're kind of out of that whole kind of thing, materialism and reductionism. Now we're into probability. So, aloe vera.
I think it was Plato that said potential probabilities are to be preferred over probable potentialities.
Right on. So when you do the aloe vera, you want to make sure that at least the way that I like to do it is I'll cut the tip. I'll even do a little more just for convenience. And then you see the gel right there. That's the mucilaginous gel, the thick gelling compound. And the reason I like this over the diluted water aloe veras, even though those do have important properties, those can be really good for you, this is really where it's at, because there's certain compounds in the gel that embed themselves in the gel, and you can't, they get lost in translation when you try to dilute and distill it. So some of those compounds are what we call polysaccharides, and this is one of the main things in nutrition right now, especially immunology, which is developing your immune system. So if you want to look at like not just beauty, obviously that was kind of like the rope to get you into the class, but really if you want to look at like just everything across the board on health and surviving in a toxic world, it's about your immune system, right? When you're a baby, you're in a sterile environment, right? Or let's take a baby calf, for example. That's a much better example. When they're in a sterile environment, they're in their mother's womb, right? They don't have to really worry about all the pathogens. Once they come out, I mentioned before the colostrum. Every living land mammal needs colostrum, right? That's what informs their immune system on how to deal with environmental antagonists, like viruses, bacteria, that kind of thing. Well, if they don't get that colostrum, they don't get sick, they die. Generally, we're in our society, we're trying to treat symptoms, right? That's kind of how we go about things in our world. We want to be prophylactic or preventative. My question isn't how do I get out of being sick? That's a silly question. I'm done with that question. My question is, how do you not get sick? How do you crack the Philosopher's Stone or the code of the universe on that one? How do I never ever get sick in a toxic world? And aloe vera, in my opinion, has a lot to do with that. It's just a byproduct that it has incredible beautification qualities as well.
Isn't it what you just explained to us about detoxifying, the jelly kind of part of it gets the toxin out too later?
Absolutely. Yeah, it helps drive out this peristaltic function, which is moving your bowel movement, going to the bathroom. Right? It's going to help shuttle things through.
It's going to be jelly.
And then every single one of the things you can look up about aloe vera, and you can look on PubMed, which is really the most credible source for peer-reviewed studies on the internet. pubmed.com. Type in aloe vera, see what you find. I have some references in my book on diverticulitis, or no, it's ulcerative colitis and Crohn's disease, and how aloe vera has some pretty interesting effects in being able to deal with those conditions.